Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another interview with my very special guest, Manal Tamimi. In the previous interview, Manal spoke about her personal experiences as a Palestinian activist, her time in prison as an ex-prisoner, and as a mother of four. Manal is a Palestinian activist, a human rights defender working at the Colonization and War Resistance Commission as an international relations coordinator. The stories that she narrated to us was heart-wrenching. There were times as she spoke, I found it very difficult to contain myself, and it's a good thing that the camera was not on me but on her. And I felt it was important for us to listen to more of her stories, to understand firsthand what it is like to live as a Palestinian under occupation. And so I am really appreciative and grateful to Manal for giving us this time so that we can get more from a direct voice, first-hand account of what the situation is actually like. For those who have read, watched videos, it can never be the same as those who actually live the moments day in and day out. As I was speaking to Manal earlier, she said we live from second to second. 1 second, if it's a happy moment, we take it to its maximum, and the next moment, if it's a sad moment, we'll take it to its maximum, and then we go forward. It is the only way to defeat the occupation, to defeat the occupationers' motivation to destroy the Palestinian will and resistance. It is a fight for survival. In each moment, they have to reinvent themselves to go to the next. And for me, this is just mind-boggling. Not only mind-boggling, it is very difficult to swallow and to understand. As we sit here in our privilege, in our ecstasy, in our luxury, unaware or perhaps, intentionally ignorant of the suffering of the Palestinian people. With that, I'd like to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and thank you again, Manal, for being here.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Manal, before we get into the human story again, can you just tell us a little bit about the Colonization and War Resistance Commission and what it's all about?
Colonization and War Resistance Commission, it has been established after the beginning of establishing the separation wall in West Bank, and it's a ministry actually, but ministries in Palestine, it's divided to two sections. One BA ministries, and the commission is part of PLO Palestinian organization, or it's under the umbrella of PLO Palestinian Liberation Organization. So our work is about first, there is a section to provide legal protection and to follow cases of confiscated lands, home demolishing, settlers attack, all attacks from burning houses, from killing livestock, from burning trees or destroying products like vegetables or whatever. Another thing that we try to do, also help these people who are affected directly by the occupation, especially Bedouin communities in Jordan Valley and South Hebron Hills, because they are more the more who received the attacks by settlers and the army. And since October 7 until now, there are more than 36 Bedouin community forced to leave their lands and to leave the area where are staying because of the a new way of stealing lands and by putting settlers a house or a caravan instead, and settlers expanding to build a new settlement. So we try to help these people to provide essential needs like providing water, solar panels, so they will be able to live, because most of the time there is electricity cut and water cut, which is controlled by Israeli companies, Makarot controlling the water, and Jerusalem Al-Quds electricity company control the electricity. Also, the villages that being burned by settlers like Al-Mughayir or Hawara, or we try to provide, to renovate the houses or provide their needs. Another thing we are doing is organizing activities against the occupation. Either it's against settlements, against the separation wall, against one of these activities, for example, build a Bab Shams village, which is a village we established on a land close to Mali Adumim, and it was to focus or to put a focus on E1 plan, which is E1 is the area between Mali Adumim near Jerusalem, which is the biggest settlement in West Bank and Jordan and Jericho. And all this area will be, which is a huge area, contain 48 Bedouin community that they will be displaced. And this is will cut northwest bank from the south, and there will be no way between. So it will be total two countries actually. West Bank, it will be divided to two countries. We were a group of activists, count 500 activists. We went there, we bought tents and everything. So luckily then E1 a project has been stopped because there were pressure from all over the world to stop it. Of course, we know that we stopped it for a while. It won't be for life, but at least we were able to focus. We stayed there for 1 week. So this kind of activities we are doing alongside with.
So just one, before you go further, I want to know, when all of this happens, are you documenting it? Are you keeping records?
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say, that we have a documentation department that we document everything from prisoners, from land stealing, land confiscation, house demolishing, all these data. We have it, and we publish it on our website.
Okay.
It's either weekly or monthly, and we have every year a yearly book that we release. It's like an annual book about all the violations committed all over West Bank and Gaza over the year.
Yeah, it's important to keep a paper trail and to keep a record of all of this.
Yeah, and we
because
provide.
We know how the Zionists like to lie, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's very important. We document with photos, with videos, with the statistics, with everything, with the statements from the people themselves. So, and we, of course, we publish it and we provide the human rights organization. We provide parliamentarians and UN, whoever asks for this data, we provide it immediately. And we have many cases in the court, actually, the Israeli court. Unfortunately, we have to go to the Israeli justice system because if we want to take any case internationally, nationally, at the beginning, it should go to the Israeli system. But this system, it's part of the occupation, so there is no justice.
Exactly.
But we were able to win a few cases, and we were able to return or to remove the demolition orders, and the Palestinians were able to take back their lands. It was a few, but it could consider as a succeed.
So when you document all of this information, etc., don't they harass you? Isn't there harassment, intimidation, threats, violence, security?
Of course, of course. Just last March, one of our colleagues has been killed on his way from between Nablus and Ramallah. Many of our colleagues also have been arrested. Many was wounded, and so yeah, we receive harassment, and we are followed all the time because we counted like 200 persons, so we became very recognizable. So immediately they could, if I goes to Jenin, for example, which is 2 hours from where I am, the soldier will, okay, Manal, Tamimi, what are you doing in Jenin? You know, which is, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
You will be like
You're a
spotted
target. You
wherever
become a target.
you are, and you will be targeted, you and your family. But this is, we are not doing this as a job. We are doing this as
It's resistance.
yeah,
It's actually
exactly,
resistance. It's work as
exactly.
resistance. But we have to go to a break. When we come back, I want to hear a little bit about Gaza from you and your experiences there. So we'll see you after the break. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the second segment with my very special guest Manal Tamimi. And before we went into the break, Manal was explaining about the issues that you are involved in as a Palestinian, simply to document the occupation, to document your survival, and of course ultimately every act is an act of resistance. But she also mentioned to me previously about the realities in Gaza, and I think I want to talk a little bit about that. So Manal, you know, you were explaining to me about the things that were happening in Gaza, your communication with Gazans. Please share us a little bit with us a little of those experiences.
Yeah, what's happening in Gaza, it's never happened worldwide. Even, I think even during the first world war and the second one, it wasn't like that. And the untold story in Gaza, it's more horrible than what we see on TV and what we see, what we hear in the news, because it's only the surface, but the iceberg is down, is bigger than up. Gaza now facing a very difficult situation, not just because of the bombardment, but also because the starvation there, especially in the north, and the diseases that they began to appear. You know, in Gaza there's no water, there's nothing, like thousands of people sharing the same bathroom without any water. They can't take showers. They have barely water to drink and for their necessary needs. So I think after this war come to end, inshallah, very soon, we will hear and see and listen to horrible stories that I don't want to talk about Gaza because I'm not living there, so maybe I'm not the right person to talk about Gaza and the situation there. But I want to talk about the prisoner, the Gazan prisoners and West Banker prisoners who are now in the Israeli prisons. Since October 7th, many new prisons have been reopened. One of them, it's called Sdit Timan prison, which is actually, it's a military base. It's based between Bir Sabah and Gaza. And this, it's like a slaughterhouse more than a prison.
Sure.
700 Palestinians are staying there, and they're all of them are from Gaza. The torturing that they are subjected, it's worse than Guantanamo. All of the prisoners are wearing a gray pajama. They only allowed to drink water once every 5 days. 24/7, they are handcuffed and blindfolded. So most of them, they had to amputate their hands or legs without anesthesia. Because and this is of course the prison clinic. Many of them, there are 36 of them has been killed. The last one is Dr. Iyad from Shifa hospital. and nobody knows about this prison. So, of course, the total of deaths is way more than this, but there's no real statistics to give the exact number of the Palestinian from Gaza who are under arrest, or the number of prisoners who has been killed under interrogation or in their way to the interrogation center. Of course, all this because they want to take information about Hamas fighters, about tunnels, about even if this person he's not involved in anything. The food is very bad. That even most of the time they can't eat it. The prisoners, they can't eat it. Either it's expired, or they found rats, or they found insects inside it, and most of the time it's not cooked. So they just eat to stay alive. Each cell, it has like 10 times double of the prisoner they should be. So it's a cell for 4 prisoners. You could find 25 prisoners in it. So there's no place actually for all prisoners to sleep, and they do like shifts. So some of them sleep for a couple of hours or 4 hours, 5 hours, then they have to wake up to let other prisoners sleep, and it goes like this. The prisoners are, most of the time, they have to stay naked. And when they want to transfer them from one place to another, from one cell to another, because they keep taking them, or the prisoner not allowed to stay in the same cell for more than 1 week. So when they transfer them from one cell to another, they have to crawl like animals while they are naked and tied with each other. There are many cases of rape for men. I'm not talking about females now, despite there are 2 cases for females talking about rape, but there are many cases for raping men, either by sticks, by carrots, by cucumber, by anything. And there are one case, one statement says that they let a dog having sex with one of the prisoners. So you can imagine how far they go to humiliate and to break the Palestinian. Many of the prisoners who was released, they are, I don't want to say traumatized because it doesn't describe their situation. I have many friends. One of my friends, within 2 months, he lost 35 kilos, only in 2 months. When he was released, I was watching a video for the release of prisoners because they released them suddenly because there were no place in the prison, so they released the one who there's no charges against them. So I was watching the video and I couldn't recognize him until his his daughter, she called me and she said, "My father, he's free." I was like, "No way." She said, "Yeah, you can see him." He lost his 35 kilo. Of course, his beard was this long, his hair was this long, and he said, in the 2 months, I didn't take one shower for 2 months. So you can imagine all this. So this is, of course, with the female, it's total different issue, but nobody knows the real situation inside prison. Because lawyers, since for 180 days, they couldn't enter the prisons. They couldn't see their clients. They couldn't meet them. ICRC, they're not allowed to go. Even before October 7, there were Israeli parliamentarian in the Knesset, they were able to visit prisoners. Now there's nothing. I have a cousin, he's 20 years old. Actually, he came here to South Africa in 2016, 17, no, in 2019, because he was shot in the head and he lost part of his skull, so he came here for medical treatment. He's in prison since June the 8th last year, 2023. We know nothing about him.
Yeah.
We don't know whether he's alive or he's dead. The lawyer, he has no information about him. The parents, if they tried many times to go to the court to see, there's no information. They released the prisoners. Whenever we asked anyone about him, no one saw him. So you can imagine the feeling of the parents. He's wounded. He lost part of his skull. He need medicine, and no one see him. Where is he? There are prisoners who was killed that they didn't announce their names. So we know that there are 3 prisoners who died because of torture, but we don't know their names, from the West Bank. I'm talking about West Bank.
So we just have about 2 minutes left. Is there anything particular that you want to make the listeners aware of? You think people should know about this and perhaps do something about it, whether it means writing to the Human Rights Commission, to your government or something, sending out letters in the news media, but raising awareness about it?
I think after October 7, they began to be aware about Palestine, about the Israeli occupation. To be honest, I can't say that you have to do this and you don't have to do that, or you can go to do that. I can't, simply because you're the one who should do
Take
this.
that decision, yes.
You're the one who should choose the best way. You're the one, you know your culture, your country, and what you are capable of. Of course, South Africa is a unique case. So they already did something that no one in the world did it before. But if I want to say that, go to this direction or that, maybe I won't be fair for one side or one from the cause. So now with the social media, it's very easy to educate yourself, and it's not enough. Despite as a Palestinian, we appreciate a lot the movement. But it's still not enough. For us, inside Palestine, whether in Gaza, West Bank, Jerusalem, occupied 48, we see no changes. In the contrary, when there are bigger movement, they escalate their crimes and they escalate their attacks and they escalate. So it goes the opposite. It goes like higher. They make the level of violence higher. Yeah. So I can't answer your question, but it's up to everyone.
And I have to stop you there. Thank you very much for sharing this with us, this experience. And
Thank you, my
inshallah,
pleasure.
we hope that what Manal has said will stir in us the ability to respond and to respond meaningfully. Fi amanillah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.